SoundSphere Radio, where every note connects.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the BRP, the BRP, the Balls Rolling Productions, just the ultimate guy show where we're going to talk about sports. Today, particularly, everyone talks about this, armchair quarterbacks, but this is going to be the ultimate what if episode for you guys out there. Some of the biggest what ifs that didn't happen. So we're going to talk about those today. Happy to do so. I'm T West. I'm the fat guy on the show. Then you got the other two guys. You got the Bildo and the Luca. How you guys doing today? It is good to see you. We've taken a couple weeks off here. Good to hear you guys again. Good to see you guys again. Billy, how's life? How are things going?
Good. This is it was a good break. I needed a little Luca break.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay, Luca, you got to come back on that. What do you got?
Man.
How you doing?
I was just interested to see what kind of pubes you glued to your face this time. So
I
glad
shaved them
to
off
see
for you,
you.
Daddy. Yeah.
Wow.
You got a clump right here. You looks like you glued in. Looks good.
Oh, that's not glue, but it's stuck on.
That other white sticky.
It's the other white sticky stuff. Oh my God. Good to hear you guys again. Glad to see you guys are doing well. Yeah, super excited about today's episode. We are actually going to talk it like we were just talking before. Ultimate what ifs. What if, right? Like some of these questions, and we're going to do a whole bunch of them here. Got them going on the bottom ticker for you, people who are listening to us. But if you're on the YouTube life line, whatever you want to call it, got a bunch scroll on the bottom here. But some of these, what if the Portland Trailblazers had drafted Michael Jordan, or the Packers drafted Barry Sanders? What if Bledsoe never got hurt with the Patriots? So we're going to talk about these, and you know what? If you guys are ready, let's just like dive right into it. I don't know if there's any ones that are particularly that you guys want to go with. Let me know.
Lead the way, sir. Lead the way.
Well,
I am ready.
All right, let's start with the biggest name out there, Michael Jordan. What if the Portland Trailblazers had drafted Michael Jordan instead of him falling to the Chicago Bulls? Luca, I want to start with you. Get your thoughts on how does this change the landscape of the NBA and basketball culture as a whole? Does Michael Jordan, the Portland Trailblazer versus the Chicago Bull change things? Give us your thoughts here.
First off, those shoes in the AI, they slap. I mean, Portland Trailblazer colors aren't too different from Chicago Bulls colors, so I would have no problem wearing those shoes. I definitely think they have Clifford Robinson, and they don't trade away Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen actually stays there when they get drafted. Dude, 6-7 rings, easy. 6-7. Oh, man.
Come on.
I can't believe I.
You did that. You did that.
But yeah, I think they go off. They easily win a bunch of titles, and he doesn't have to deal with Isaiah Thomas in the East.
Ooh, that's a good call, because Jordan and Isaiah Thomas, they did not like each other very much.
All they had was the Lakers. I think the East was a lot better back then, and you had to go through Isaiah Thomas. You had to go through Larry Bird. So maybe you don't have to go through all of them, and you get to the championships a little bit quicker. All you got is the Lakers.
Okay. That's a fair assumption, fair thoughts. Billy, I want to get your thoughts on Michael Jordan, the Portland Trailblazer.
Well, I mean, Jordan's the GOAT. So wherever Jordan's going to go, he's going to win. So I agree with Luca. I think they would have dominated, and the Blazers would be that, what was it, 72-10 record.
Oh, from the Bulls? Yeah.
Yes, same. You know, I just feel like it just history would have repeated itself with Portland. I mean, I do agree with Luca too. Like, they wouldn't have had that strong Pistons team early on. Could he have more rings if he didn't have that huge obstacle? You know, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I do think Clyde Drexler was one of the all-time greats in the game.
I forgot about him.
I don't even think he even comes close to Jordan. I think he was a little bit taller, if I recall, by like maybe an inch or two. But
Well, this is
Jordan.
like an inch. That's a lot of an inch is huge.
Yeah,
Let's
it-
just
Yeah,
say
like
that out loud.
inch or
Yeah.
two. Like,
Absolutely inch.
yeah, an inch is easily a foot, right?
yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, yeah, I agree with everything Lucas said. I think the Blazers would have dominated.
Okay. Those are great thoughts. I do want to bring up, I just kind of touched on one of the thoughts that you guys both brought up was not having to go through the East as a member of the Bulls, but he still would have had to have seen them as a member of the Blazers, right? So
Mhm.
would those Blazers teams then would they have been enough to beat those bad boys Pistons, right? And the Bird Celtics and so it would have been in the finals. He would have gotten to the finals, I think, a lot quicker.
Mhm.
But would he still have been enough to have beaten those teams? That's my only question. But I still think, to your guys' point, history probably does repeat itself. I think you probably get the very similar supporting casts, and I think you see a good 6 championships again. So,
Yeah. And I will say, yeah, you're absolutely right. They still would have had to play them in the finals, but would he have a perfect record in the finals, or would he be like LaFlop and
flop.
3-6?
Lift it up,
You know,
James.
there's one thing Jordan's got is he's undefeated in the finals.
Yeah. No, absolutely. All right. You guys ready for the next one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one. We're going to switch sports here. And we're going to go to arguably the greatest running back of all time, one of them, behind Emmitt Smith and Gary Payton, Barry Sanders. Now we have in a picture here Barry Sanders, number 20 for the Green Bay Packers. So what if the Packers had drafted Barry Sanders instead of Tony Mandarich at number 2 in the 1989 draft? I can't remember the draft it was for sure, but Billy, I want to start with you on this one. What do the Packers look like in the early 90s with a Barry Sanders at running back instead of a incredible bulk, incredible flop Tony Mandarich? Go ahead.
It's weird seeing a Barry Sanders look-alike in a Packers uniform. That's really weird.
Yeah, it is.
Would the Packers still have gotten Sterling Sharp if this would have happened?
I think so, because I think Sterling was drafted before Tony Mandarich.
Okay.
Let
Could
me
you
just find
imagine
out for you.
Barry Sanders and Sterling Sharp in the same team?
Oh my gosh.
Barry Sanders would have, I mean, to expand on the what if Sterling Sharp didn't have a career-ending injury and the Packers had Barry Sanders? I mean, they would have had some
Yeah.
rings. They would have had some rings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, so Sterling Sharp was drafted in 1988. Barry Sanders was drafted in 1989. So the Packers legitimately probably would have had both those two guys. And in this time, they also had Don Mikowski coming in. So you could have had a big three there, if you want to call it that.
Definitely.
You know, Mikowski, Sanders, Sharp. Maybe things change. Maybe because there's a running game that Don Mikowski doesn't get hurt and Brett Favre never happens.
Ooh. I was going
Right?
to say, what if you had Brett Favre throwing the Sterling Sharp
Oh,
and
God.
handing out to Barry Sanders? Like, dang, dude.
3 Hall of Famers in the same backfield basically at once would have been insane. So, okay. Yeah. Luca, let's get your thoughts on this. I saw you kind of making some faces there like, what do you got?
It's your Don Mikowski. Like,
Oh, don't even with the
Don
Don Mikowski. The
Like,
Magic Man? Come on, that guy was the best.
he had a magic thrower too, but like the hopes and dreams of the what if world, like great to see that mullet guy out there, mullet man, just
Yeah.
whispering throws through the air and being able to dink and doink over to and dump over to Barry Sanders when he's in trouble rather than just get leveled.
Right.
I mean, yeah, maybe what if? I mean, I think they're definitely better than a 9-17. I think they're definitely sitting better than what Detroit was when they had them. Because I mean, they had Herman Moore. What did they have? Phil Sims or I don't. Who was there? No, I know he was with the Giants. But
they had Rodney Pete. They had Scott Mitchell that they brought in from the Dolphins.
yeah,
That was in '93 though, I think. So they had a bunch of different quarterbacks with the Barry Sanders regime.
It was nobody good. So yeah, if we could pair Brett Favre in there, absolutely amazing. But who's to say that we don't mess up just like Detroit? and we sit there and look like the biggest schlups in the whole world, and we passed up on Brett Favre. And it's all because we have Barry Sanders. I mean, hey, we've done it in the past with our drafting and our trading, pass up because, well, we got this guy. So in a perfect world, what if Barry Sanders was there? Oh, easily with Brett Favre and Sterling Sharp. My goodness, the amount of rings that we could possibly have. Or I could see us totally crapping the bed and going the opposite way.
It is
Barry
the Wisconsin sports way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barry was the it figure that you're building your team around. Are you really trying to put a quarterback over the top of him that's going to outshine him and take away from his stats?
Well, could you
Hard to
imagine if
say.
Barry Sanders had a quarterback?
I know, right?
You know, I think that's where I land in this conversation is Sterling Sharp was an 88. Barry would have been an 89. Don Mikowski was there already. You still went and got Favre because he was in the 91 draft. You got him in 92. So you would have had those guys within a 4-year period.
And Reggie White.
Reggie White came in 93. You probably were still going to get him, right? Like this team, I think, probably would have remained the same because I really don't believe that the draft status, I don't think their successes would have been that much different. I think we would have continued drafting where we did. We didn't even draft Brett Favre. We traded for him. So it's one of those things where I think we probably would have stayed, built this team around him. You would have had Sterling Sharp, Barry Sanders, Brett Favre, Reggie White, Leroy Butler, all these. You would have had all these pieces. And I think this team would have won multiple Super Bowls if you had Barry Sanders in that team. So that's where I land on this one.
Monkey wrench. Let's say we don't even have Brett Favre. You still had Mark Brunell and Kurt Warner. Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
We could have done just fine because we had picked those guys up. We could have easily won a Super Bowl. And with Kurt Warner, who knows how many?
Well,
with Barry Sanders.
If you watch the Underdog movie or whatever it was called, Kurt Warner said himself he wasn't ready to play back then. So, but anyway, Billy, I want to get some final thoughts from you on this one.
Well, two things. I couldn't imagine Brett Favre not being a Packer back in the day if that would have happened. Second thought is, do you think Barry Sanders would have done a Lambeau leap or just his flip after he scored a touchdown?
I don't think he would have done a Lambeau leap.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
Like I mean, at most he would have walked, maybe just slapped hands, but he just wasn't a celebrator. So that would have been kind of unfortunate, especially during that time when the Lambeau leap was invented.
Yeah. You had Leroy Butler to Reggie White, back to Leroy Butler, and jumping. Yeah, that would have been incredible. Could you imagine? Yeah, Barry Sanders, a Packer, doing a Lambeau leap. That would be an iconic, historic photo right there.
Does he accidentally hop over the first row because he has that much boing to his step?
Does he have that much bounce? No.
Yeah,
he was pretty short for a football player.
He could jump though.
He could. Well, let's talk about a guy that couldn't jump. You ready for this one? Drew Bledsoe. All right. He can't jump just because he's white. I'm just saying, it was Drew Bledsoe. He wasn't jumping anywhere, okay? But this is another ultimate what if here is Drew Bledsoe. So he got hurt on a Monday night game against the New York Jets from, I think it was like Mo Lewis or someone that just destroyed him as he was going out of bounds, collapsed his lung and everything, or punctured his lung, something along those lines. But that led the way for Tom Brady to come in and never let go of the starting job. Drew Bledsoe had ultimately traded to Buffalo, and he'd eventually gone to Dallas and start there for a couple of seasons, all because Drew Bledsoe got hurt. So what if Drew Bledsoe didn't get hurt? Would the Patriots have won a couple Super Bowls? I see the AI photo there, made him with 3 of them. Don't know. What if Drew Bledsoe would have stayed healthy? Would the Patriots have become Super Bowl champions? Luca, let's start here with you on this one. What are you thinking?
I think he would have had at least 1 or 2. I don't think he was as clutch as Tom Brady. Because, I mean, Tom did a lot with less.
Okay.
So, but I do think with Ty Law and some of those guys that he had on that team, Willie McGinnis, I mean, they could have definitely gotten a couple.
Okay. Billy?
I'm calling it. If Drew Bledsoe did not get hurt, he would be the GOAT of the NFL, not Tom Brady.
Really?
No,
Oh,
not
wow.
really.
I
No.
was just say,
No, not really. I bet you he would have snagged one. I bet
okay.
you would have gotten one because, two things come to mind is that you still had Bill Belichick as your coach. And during that time, you had a really shitty division where maybe he got lucky. They're, running the table, so to speak, where they kind of can steamroll through the regular season with the record or and whatnot, just because that division was pretty piss poor at one point.
Sure.
I mean,
Let
the
me ask.
Bills were still coming over their hangover with the Cowboys. I think that's just like their own deflate gate right there, just going straight to the cellar.
I don't think the Bills have still gotten over that.
No, they're. I'll be happy to see the Bills in the Super Bowl one day, but they're still getting over the 4 straight losses. Well, let me ask you this question. So Drew Bledsoe played in a Super Bowl. It was against the Green Bay Packers, and he did have some great. He had some great players there, especially Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
lit us up in that Super Bowl. You had Terry Glenn was his wide receiver, right? He had a lot of big pieces. Ben Coates was at tight end. Yeah, that team was there. It just so happened that the Packers were just the better team that year. I think if that team would have stayed together, I do agree. I think maybe not with Bill Parcells, but with Bill Belichick coming in and keeping that team together, maybe keeping a Curtis Martin, I think that team, that Patriots team would have won a couple Super Bowls with Drew Bledsoe. So
Hold up. You said a name there.
Mhm.
Do you Ben Coates? Remember in the 90s when they had that one raffle type thing where you'd open up a wrapper of a Snickers and whatever player that was, like they had to get like MVP or something like that of the Super Bowl or something like that. And every single time I ate so much Snickers for like a good month or two trying to like
Inside
get
down.
whoever.
I was just gonna say, how are you holding that?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Never mind. I give up. Well, I'll tell you what, Ben Coates was on every single one of my rappers, and it sucked because he wasn't winning nothing.
No.
Man.
That's unfortunate you got Ben Coates. But
Yeah, it's
one of
unfortunate
these,
I set up that joke too.
hey, you said the Snickers bar, man. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Do we got anything we want to add to Drew Bledsoe, or do we want to leave him on the sideline like Tom Brady did?
I'll just say one last thing. Poor Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah. Really? Right? Like the poor guy.
Yeah. Like, could you imagine going out with an injury? And do you think he knew his career was over with that injury, or do you think he was like, I can come back?
He thought he was coming back. He thought he was
Okay.
gonna unseat Brady and start the next year. And then
See, that's what's unfortunate. Is like the poor guy, just nope, become a bit of a journeyman, bouncing around from other teams, never winning that Super Bowl, and then the person that supersedes you,
Yeah,
is the greatest of all time with 7, right?
Mhm.
7, yeah.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
Can you
Okay.
imagine his trash talking? Like, hey, just keeping the bench warm for you. You're gonna be back over there, 6th round pick. Never got back on.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question, because this has gone around for a couple different players. Are you guys familiar with Wally Pipp
No.
and the Wally Pipp story? So Wally Pipp was a first baseman back between like 1913 and 1928. Played for a bunch of different teams, but he was again a first baseman. He got hurt, and he was replaced. I forget who replaced him. I got to look that up real quick. But he got hurt, was replaced, and Wally Pipp never played again. And Lou Gehrig. I should have known that one. Lou Gehrig replaced Wally Pipp as a starting first baseman in 1925 because
Wow.
Pipp sat out with a headache, and
Oh.
Lou Gehrig went on to play 2,130 consecutive straight games. So Wally Pipp didn't play again. So some people consider Don Majkowski the Wally Pipp of the NFL with Brett Favre. But do you consider Drew Bledsoe the actual Wally Pipp of the NFL with the Tom Brady thing? Although Drew Bledsoe did play for different teams, more so than Don Majkowski did. Could you see, is Drew Bledsoe the real Wally Pipp here?
Ooh, I could. Now that you
Yeah.
put it that way, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I mean, like I said, it's hard to I think of the context of everything, the fact that he never started again for the Patriots, and the fact that Tom Brady was so successful, like a Lou Gehrig versus a Wally Pipp. I make it equivalent to that. However, with Drew Bledsoe still playing a couple seasons in Buffalo and Dallas, he still got to play, just wasn't successful. So I don't know. It's a toss up for me, but I would definitely argue that Don Mikowski and Drew Bledsoe are both the Wally Pipps of the NFL. So there's a little story. There's a little history lesson with Wally Pipp. His name doesn't get brought up a lot. So
Wally Pipp should have taken some Tylenol.
bro, yeah, he was just done.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't call it Tylenol, but yeah, they called it crack cocaine.
That was actually
bourbon, whatever it was back then.
So okay, let's bring up another guy that liked to pop pills. You ready for this one?
Brett Favre.
Brett.
Oh no! I wasn't expecting that.
One guy that was addicted to pills for a while. At least this was with the Packers. Brett Favre. But our what if for Brett Favre is, what if he never threw that pass across his body in the NFC Championship game against the Saints? What if he wins a Super Bowl with the Minnesota Vikings? Does his career legacy change? Well, just tell me, walk me through this. Brett Favre right there holding a Super Bowl. And mind you, Vikings fans, this is the closest you're ever going to get. Thank you, AI, for that, because you guys suck. Anyway, Brett Favre, Super Bowl champion, Minnesota Vikings. Walk me through it. Somebody start me off, because I'm just flabbergasted by that picture.
Yeah, I look at this and I'm just like, what if he didn't send that dick pic to that girl? Does he still get laid by her? On this note, I don't think he wins the Super Bowl no matter what, because it's the Vikings. They're 0-4 in Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Favre was their last chance to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't even like talking about this. This is stupid. This is the stupidest what if that we've ever come up with.
Okay. Billy,
Vikings.
Walk me through this one. What are your feelings of this what if?
Dude, AI doesn't even like the Vikings because they can't even put it on the helmet. They put Bakings on the helmet, not Vikings. And they spelled Bakings wrong. So maybe they did it. Regardless, the Vikings can't be liked unless you're in Minnesota.
The jersey is wrong. The jersey is absolutely wrong.
AI is like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
So
Vikings or AI doesn't even know what the Vikings look like. Who?
So here's the thing. Brett Favre hasn't had a lot of controversy post Packers career from, yes, the dick pic. Yes, whatever that scandal was with frauding the Mississippi, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't deny that he's one of the greatest Packers of all time. I still believe that he's one of my favorite football players to ever watch, despite the controversies. As a kid, you don't pay attention to that stuff. And when you just watched him play, he had so much joy for the game and love of the game. Iron Man, he get hit. He was always getting back up. So a part of me wants to be like, I would have loved to see him get another ring, just being a Brett Favre fan back in that day.
And that's fair. Yep.
But fuck the Vikings, dude. Like this, even though this picture is fake, it still breaks my heart to see him in Vikings colors. I didn't really care that much about the Jets. It's like, whatever. But to go to a division rival, and I hate the Vikings more than the Bears. So it's just like, it hurts. So I'm torn. I would, as a Brett Favre fan at the time, yes, I would love to see him get another ring. But fuck the Vikings. So I'm glad he threw that pick to whatever.
Yep.
So
wasn't that during the Saints Bounty Gate?
Yeah.
That was Bounty Gate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now seeing Brett Favre hold the Super Bowl trophy, Bounty Gate didn't seem so bad after all. I mean, maybe we could have overlooked it.
Yeah.
Well, we have a Vikings fan in our extended group of friends here. I'm not going to mention his name, but he hates the Saints to this day because of Bounty Gate.
Oh, man.
And what they did to that. But you know what I've always said? I said, you know what, man? This guy also hated Brett Favre growing up. Like, he hated the Packers. He still hates the Packers. He hated Brett Favre.
Bedwetter, too.
Yeah. Brett Favre's trash. Brett Favre's trash. And then when he goes to the Vikings, the first thing he does is run out and get a Brett Favre Vikings jersey and bring it to a fantasy football draft.
Oh, yeah.
Clown. So I'm glad that he lost it for the Vikings, Brett Favre, when he did. Because what I said to this guy that we know I said, you know what? Welcome to our world of being a Packers fan and watching and living and dying by Brett Favre's arm. You did it for one season where he fucked your season up with a gut-wrenching interception.
Yeah.
You know what? Try doing that for multiple years. So no sympathy for me. Fuck him.
Want to talk about 2004? You want to talk about how many other years?
There's been enough. Like 07, his last game with us, NFC Championship game. And
that
his
one was
last pass to the
against
Packer was an interception.
Was that against the Giants?
That was against the Giants. Yep.
We were watching that one together. Fuck that one.
So Lawrence Tynes kicks that game winning field goal for the Giants. Yeah.
That was a painful game. So for all of you out there, we're definitely Packers fans, right? We're Wisconsinites, and we've won Super Bowls. We've gotten to see in our lifetime. We've gone to 3. We've won 2 that we've seen. We've gotten to see the Bucks win an NBA championship. We've gotten to see the Brewers be the most successful they've ever been. But we're still one of the most, heart-wrenched fan bases that are out there, because we get so close, and we get so close to being a dynasty, and then we just shit the bed every way we know how. So for all of you who don't know, yes, Wisconsinites, we're thankful for the successes that we've had, but our hearts are always broken every year. We're just getting used to that now. So just putting that out there.
Regular season heroes is what I call it.
Yes.
Just regular season heroes. Yeah. And then that's it.
100%.
Bucks aren't even making the playoffs this year.
No, they're
tanking. I think they're tanking on purpose for their draft pick. Because I think I keep seeing online in these mock drafts that like they're right at 10 and they get to keep their pick. So I think it's like pick protected for this draft. So who knows? Maybe David Stern can rig the draft for the Bucks and keep Giannis happy and give us the number 1 pick. We go and pick Boozer from
David
Duke.
Stern. Is he even alive yet?
Oh shit! Adam Silver powder. Sorry. We can go pick up Boozer or the other kid from who is it? It's like BYU or something like that. This kid is out of this world. Really, really good. So it's one of those 2, and boom! All of a sudden, hey, Bucks fans are happy again. We're the greatest state of small market teams ever, and we can win another chip. How great would that be?
Well, what I will say, I'm just glad this guy didn't win a championship. So, not with the Vikings anyway, because that would have just sucked. Because honestly, you know what? The Vikings probably would have beat the Colts that year, just like the Saints did. So, the Vikings were a pretty good team.
Can I ask you guys a question? If you had to sum up Wisconsin sports, what would you compare it to that's like gut-wrenching and heartbreaking? I'll say this. I feel like Wisconsin sports is like watching your homie talk to a 10, knowing that he's a 5 and he's not even in the same league as her. And he gets there. He's going to go home with this girl. And all of a sudden he just like blows his load before he even gets to kiss her. It's almost like American Pie all over again, I just feel like that's what it's like to be small market Wisconsin sports.
I feel like you feel that way because that's literally what I witnessed with you when I would go out with you. No, I think that's right. So I was gonna say something a little more PG than that. I was gonna say it's like the average looking dude who likes the really, really pretty girl and wants to ask her to prom or something like that, and then gets friend zoned at the last minute.
That sounds like high school all over.
That's how I feel. I feel like the Wisconsin sports just get friend zoned.
That's a great analogy.
That's how
That's a great analogy. Yep, that works. That works for me. All right, let's move on. I do want to talk about, because we're still on football right now. What if this is a big one? What if 28-3 never happened? What if the Atlanta Falcons like hung on to win the Super Bowl? I see here the AI picture has, it looks like that's even a Patriots hat that Matt Ryan has on. But anyway, like they're still gonna win no matter what. The Patriots always win. But what if
you even have like some fucking Patriots dude like cheering in the background for him?
Right? Do the Falcons, are they a one and done do they create a bit of a run where they're winning 2 to 3 Super Bowls? What are your thoughts on the Falcons holding on instead of giving up that 28-3 lead, and Tom Brady doesn't orchestrate the biggest comeback in the Super Bowl of all time? So give me your thoughts on this. Falcons winning the Super Bowl. And it looks like in the background, AI has some work to do, but it's Super Bowl II there. But no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it is. What the?
AI did pretty good though. I'll give them right. It's they're making up pictures out of nothing, so I'm not mad at them. Yeah. So give me your thoughts on this. What happens? Like, what?
Can I ask why Tom Brady's like 12 feet tall in this photo?
He's still up on everybody's shoulders,
right?
being carried off the field. Like, no, you're still a goat. Well, you don't deserve to walk. Let's carry you.
I got a funny story about this Super Bowl.
Okay.
I was where I used to live, and I got this recipe book. It was called God, what was it called? It was something about chicken wings. It was like the Chicken Wing Bible or something like that. And it was all these different chicken wing recipes that you can make. Obviously, it's Wisconsin, so it's January or February or whatever, and it's cold. So they had these crock pot meals of how to like make these chicken wings. I just threw all these chicken wings in a crock pot. I added way too much of the suggested seasonings and the sauces and all that stuff. They were awful, just god awful. And it cost like $80 to do it, because like when you add the chicken, you buy all the seasonings, you buy all the stuff. It's like $80. It just tasted like absolute shit. So during this Super Bowl, I make this shit food, and it's halftime, and it's 28-3. And then I'm eating this shit food, and I even said, I'm like, there's no way that the Patriots are losing this game. I said, Brady's not going down like a bitch, getting blown out in the Super Bowl. He's Tom Brady. So I called it. I will pat myself on the back on that one. Called it.
Okay.
And I predicted that while I was eating nasty chicken wings, and then go in the basement and step in water, and my water heater was leaking. So that's my memories of this Super Bowl. Was shit food, a water heater that was leaking because it was broke. And I remember predicting that the Patriots were going to come back to win, which they did, because fuck Matt Ryan, because I had him on way too many fantasy football teams where he shafted me.
Oh man, that sucks. That sucks.
I'm done.
All right. Luca, what are your thoughts on this?
I know I can count on one hand how many people would have been super excited about this, other than literally only Atlanta. Anybody who lives in Atlanta. And yeah, whatever. Great. They probably should have clinched it and won, but looking at this right now, like, and seeing 12-foot Tom Brady, I'm kind of glad that Tom won now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does nothing for me. I'm glad that it's the Falcons who got blown out in the second half. It hurts. Poor Julio. Like,
yeah,
he deserved better with how much CTE he got from Matt Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that sucks.
I mean, right there, you kind of mentioned that you have two Hall of Famers on this team, and neither one of them got a ring. And the fact that you were up, what?
Did Julio get one?
I don't think so.
With the Eagles?
No. Julio Jones, I don't think got one with the Eagles. Hold on. All right, let's look it up. Julio Jones.
I thought he was holding the book for the other guy.
I don't know. This is a real thing. Julio Jones did not win a Super Bowl with the Eagles, finishing his 2023 season team before retiring. So no, he did not get it. But those two guys right there are like two of the best to ever play their positions, and they were up 28-3 going into the fourth quarter, basically, and lost. It's incredible for me to think that actually happened. So I think I would have liked to have seen, because at this time in my life, I hated the Patriots. I'm like, all right, I'm fucking done with the Patriots. Like, I'm done with the Chiefs. It's like I just want teams to move on. Like, I'm already done with the Eagles. I don't need them to be good anymore. Let's go something different here. And so I was ready for Brady to lose. I was ready for the Falcons to win. So it's a great story we can all go back on every March 28th. We're all like, hey, 328. So Ultimately, though, again, a couple Hall of Famers who did not get a ring, and they can go on to that list of players that we have going of best players who didn't win a ring, and they're right up on that list. So, unfortunate for them. I do want to talk about one more player, one more here who, if he would have stayed healthy, I think he would have had a couple rings and been one of the best. Derrick Rose, Chicago Bulls. What if he never tore his ACL? Because remember, he was the youngest player to ever win the MVP. Looked like Michael Jordan, almost, so much like him, so fast, faster than the rest of the basketball game. And just what happens? What if he never tore his ACL? I'm gonna leave, like, being a Bucks fan. I liked this guy. He was pretty good. Watch him in Memphis, right? Watching him play basketball, then to Chicago. And it's like, holy crap, this guy's good. So, give me your guys' thoughts. What would the landscape of the NBA look like now if Derrick Rose stayed healthy and he could still be playing? So, Billy, let's leave this off.
This one breaks my heart.
Yeah, right.
Derrick Rose, I think if he never got those severe injuries, I think he would be in the top 5 greatest of all time discussion.
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
think,
Wow.
I mean, the dude he played so hard. He played so good. Like you said, T West, he looked like a mini Jordan. And besides rooting for all the legends in the NBA, like your Kobe, your Shaq, your Jordans, all that, it was always diehard Bucks for me growing up. This is one player that I always found myself rooting for outside of those faces of the NBA. Like there was even one point I was rooting for LeBron at one point before he kind of turned to a diva. But
yeah, the flop.
This one hurts because this is the ultimate like basketball what if for me. Poor guy. But he did have comeback player of the year, I think, when he was with Memphis, proving that he still had it, barring injury. He could still ball. And it's just sometimes life's not fair. Sometimes the body fails you. And unfortunately, this is what happened to D Rose.
Okay. Luca, you want to expand on that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see him ever leaving the Bulls if he never gets hurt.
Right.
And they had like some really good players around him, like Kirk Kinrich. They had Luol Deng. They had some decent players come into the league to surround him that they could have had their own big 3. I think they had great passing. They had great 3-point shooting. Joakim Noah. I was waiting for you to say that one, Billy. They had a lot of good talent around them that they could have easily gotten a chip. I think he would have gotten at least one. And he would have followed up by getting at least another MVP. And that's strong saying top 5. That's super strong saying top 5. I think.
I mean, of our era,
Yeah.
Okay.
But when you say it, it's not unbelievable with how good he was. It's not unbelievable. But I think his numbers up on the rafters, and he's a one team and done. He doesn't have to go to these other teams.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
And then as a Bucks fan, I would have been pissed off after a while watching us get our asses whooped by him all the freaking time. Like, kind of like Jordan, you fear the guy. After getting whooped for how many seasons, I'd kind of get sick of it and fear the guy too. I think that's where it would have gone.
I think I'd like to add there, because you kind of mentioned a great point of the Bucks getting whooped by the Bulls, just like the Jordan era. How great, and I think we got robbed of this opportunity, because I think the Bucks would have also built a team around Giannis earlier. How great would it have been, though, to watch the Bucks-Bulls rivalry, Derrick Rose versus Giannis, for a decade, right? That would have been an incredible thing to watch. Bucks, Bulls, 1-2 coming out of the East every year, I think. It would have changed the complete landscape of the Eastern Conference. Like Luke, if you said, like, if he would have stayed with the Bulls the whole time. And I think I think we got robbed of that. So I agree with Billy. To me, he was a top 5 talent of all time. Would have been a top 5 player, at least of our generation. And
do you
actually go ahead. You say something.
Do you guys know a lot of Bulls fans?
No.
Like, I swear, whenever I talk to a Bulls fan, and they're like, "Oh, fuck Giannis. Oh, we're so sick of Giannis. We're always getting beat by Giannis." And they all hate him. And the trade rumors, right? Of
Mhm.
him going to Chicago, and they're all getting excited to have
Of course they
Giannis.
were. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can say one word to those guys, and they immediately quiet up. They're like, Jordan. Like, yeah, we didn't have anything.
Yeah.
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 Like,
Okay.
get out of here. You don't hate Giannis that much.
You know, so just to add on this, I did have a hard time picking right between Derrick Rose for a what if, and then I don't know if you guys remember Len Bias.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Len Bias was the number 2 pick in the 1986 draft, was considered one of the top prospects, top basketball players of all time. Um, Brad Daugherty was actually picked before him at number 1. But so Len Bias died of cardiac arrest from a cocaine overdose after being picked number 2 by the Boston Celtics. Never played a second in the NBA, but it was one of those what ifs. What if he would have not done drugs?
Mm-hmm.
How would he have changed the landscape of the NBA? And there's just so many of these because he could have changed how things were people picked where, because he had Jordan coming out, you know, and just yeah, it was a completely different. So it was between Len Bias and Derrick Rose for the what ifs, but I went with Derrick Rose because I think a lot more people can relate to him and they know who that is. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, in the words of Rick James, cocaine. It's been a hell of a drug.
There's a
Well,
really good
so-
Len Bias documentary too, somewhere out there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
To be honest, I didn't remember him at all until you brought it up and you said cocaine overdose. I was like, yeah, that guy.
yeah. Well, so we want to know, for everyone out there, we want to know, what are your biggest what ifs? You know, is there something you can think of? Let us know, because we'd love to hear more and talk more. We just wanted to bring up some of these biggest ones that we know. But yeah, you know, so let us know your biggest what ifs. Comment down below on the comment section, or reach out to us, however that goes. But yeah, what are your biggest what ifs? And we're not done yet, because I think as a part of the what ifs, you have to talk about big misses too.
Mm.
You know, this is an example of maybe a team drafting someone, kind of like the Barry Sanders with the Packers, right? Like, we drafted Tony Manders, so it was a miss. But here's going to be some other big misses that we want to talk about. So we're also going to want you guys' feedback on that. But going to have them I'm not going to bring anybody up, but down on the ticker, you know, it starts off in 2020. Jalen Reagor was drafted before Justin Jefferson. What are you guys' thoughts on that? The fact that Jalen Reagor, I don't even know if he's even in the league anymore. And here you had Justin Jefferson turning into the best wide receiver in the NFL. How crazy do you think is that Jalen Reagor was picked before him?
I don't know who that is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right. So, he was Jalen Reagor was a wide receiver. I
Drafted
forget,
by the Eagles.
but drafted by the Eagles. Where did he come
Yep.
from though? Why do I want to say?
I think he came from his parents.
Well, duh. Jesus. Wow.
How did that happen?
Yeah. How did that happen, Luca?
I think the coolest thing about that was watching the draft and seeing Minnesota and how cocky they were. They're just like, yeah, we got our guy. F you, the Eagles. Like, you messed up. And they were so cocky about it. I was like, wow. Are the Vikings actually going to get this right? And I was so skeptic of them that whole first rookie year.
Sure.
Dude showed up. I was like, man, talk about just like letting it out there and just showing how much you thought of the Eagles back then, and like, you suck, you missed on this one, and they missed so badly. Now I look back at that, I'm like, dude, fuck the Eagles, man.
Yeah.
That was so dope watching that.
So he was drafted by the Eagles. Last I saw is that he was with the Chargers in 24, signed a 1-year contract extension into 25, and I don't know about this year. So he was at least still kind of playing, but yeah. So Billy, want to add anything to that? Are you good?
I'm good.
All right. So next kind of on list this is one that's familiar with Packer fans. A lot of people aren't going to remember this name, but the Packers drafted Dayton Jones. He was a defensive tackle, or at least was on the defensive line. We could have had, now mind you, this was for Aaron Rodgers. This would have been 2013, we could have gotten DeAndre Hopkins. The Green Bay Packers could have drafted DeAndre Hopkins for Aaron Rodgers to throw to, but we went with a D lineman in Dayton Jones. This to me, besides the TJ Watt, Kevin King thing that Luca likes to bring up all the time, this was one of the biggest misses for the Green Bay Packers, I think, especially through the Aaron Rodgers era. Yes, we had Devontae Adams. Yes, we had Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb. But the fact that there was a DeAndre Hopkins out there, then you just went away from him, you know. So to me, that's a big miss. We had a good receiver room, but we could have had a better receiver room. And Dayton Jones was a flop. Let me get your guys' thoughts on that miss right there, for at least for the Green Bay Packers. We'll start with Billy.
Yeah, I mean, that hurts too, because obviously DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best. You know, the guy's got glue on his hands. I mean, he doesn't drop anything. I think you said it best. What a miss.
Yeah. Luca?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Oh, he's muted too. Well, okay, so we'll fill in the time here. Dayton Jones, I think he played for a few years with the Packers, and it was just a complete first round flop. I'll just say that out loud right now. Not picking on the guy, just did not perform. I don't think we extended him by any means, and I don't know where he finished his career. So
it's funny. I wouldn't even remember that name unless you wouldn't have brought it up. That's how much unfortunately, what a flop he is. That he just has no lasting impression with me or anything like that. So, it's kind of crazy with these. The misses or the flops or whatnot is just how many of the ones drafted after, how many people drafted at 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever always play better than the number 1 overall pick. You have one on the ticker that I'm kind of looking forward to talking about, but it's crazy how some of these people, like, they dominate in college, but they can never just translate to the pros.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Luca.
Sorry about that technical difficulty. I didn't realize my laptop was about to die, and I actually hit the power strip off.
Oh.
So got a little help there. Dayton Jones, bust of a pick. We know. Did I know enough about some of the guys behind him, like D-Hop, that he was going to be that good? No, but I'll tell you what. When we drafted Dayton Jones, that's what started me just being upset with first round picks by the Green Bay Packers. So that I was like, I don't think we're getting good at this. I think we're only getting worse at this. And in 2013, do you guys remember our wide receivers? We had no business drafting DeAndre Hopkins at all. We didn't need him.
Right.
So there was that. We Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, like, we didn't need him. So it sucks that we got Dayton Jones, but we were never going to grab D-Hop. So,
well, I just looked up a couple other names here of people that were drafted after we drafted Dayton Jones. I'm looking at Cordell Patterson, right? He was number 29. Alec Ogletree, a linebacker for the Cowboys, or for the Rams. Then he was Cowboys. He was drafted at pick 30. Travis Frederick, a center from Wisconsin, went to number 31 to the Cowboys. D-Hop was number 27. Kawan Short, Logan Ryan, just some of these guys were big names that were drafted after we picked Dayton Jones. So I think D-Hop was one of the bigger names, but just another flop on the Packers. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the name Justin Harrell. Justin Harrell was another defensive line flop for the Packers. So the Packers have kind of shit the bed picking. So, okay, so let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to Blaine Gabbert. If you remember him, he was picked ahead of J.J. Watt back in 2011. J.J. Watt, as we know, is a Hall of Famer and went on to be one of the best defensive linemen of all time, winning, I think, 3 Defensive Player of the Years in a row, or at least 3 in his time. And Blaine Gabbert was a career backup. So, big miss there. Give me your thoughts on that one.
I'll start this one. TOS, do you know by any chance where each player was drafted?
Oh, I know J.J. Watt was drafted.
He was
number
top 10, right?
Top number 10, I think.
Yeah.
Gabbard was
In-
number. I
Who
forget.
who did they have before Blaine Gabbert? Was it still Mark Brunell and they were moving on from him to Blaine Gabbert?
No, I think that was Derek Gerard.
Okay. Yeah. So,
He's drafted. Okay, so Blaine Gabbert was drafted 10th overall,
okay.
and this is back in the 2011 draft. And was he really replacing David Gerard? He might have been replacing David Gerard.
Okay.
So,
I mean, you had to take a chance on Blaine Gabbert. It just sucks that it didn't work out.
oh,
Did they
JJ
need a
Watt was drafted
defensive-
11.
Yeah. Did they need JJ Watt? I mean, me being a Wisconsin fan, yeah, you did. But
Oh, yeah,
also,
absolutely.
I mean, if you're saying they missed on that and they needed a quarterback, they also missed on Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
3rd round.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
See, that's a good
you
call
coulda-
right
you
there.
coulda- I mean, if you're looking at it, yeah, they just missed huge. You could have had JJ Watt in the 1st round, and then you could have gotten Russell in like the 2nd round. Dude,
Yeah.
Jaguars, you suck.
Absolutely. That's why they're the Jaguars.
Yeah, they just like pop epiphany in my head. Wow.
Yeah. No, that's a great what if, great miss. That's kind of what we're looking for, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Billy, what are your thoughts on the Blaine Gabbert and JJ Watt thing? Yeah, 10 and
No.
11 each.
Nothing you guys haven't said already. I just think it's all good points, and I didn't even think about the Russell Wilson thing either. Like, shame on you, Jaguars.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I know. It's like I'm kind of looking and like who was drafted after Blaine Gabbert. Let me look that up because now you guys got me going down a wormhole here. You know.
Why you looked that
Our
up? I'll say
Badgers team was loaded. Wasn't Joe Thomas was before that, right?
Yeah.
For the Browns.
Before that.
Yeah, he had to been way before that.
Oh man, they missed out on Christian Ponder. Holy shit. Oh, sorry.
that's,
said
a name
that out loud.
that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, I see like Mike Pouncey is on there, number 15, and I don't think 2011. Yeah, wasn't bad, just wasn't great. All right, so are we good with Blaine Gabbert? Because just kind of like in real life, he just kind of floundered there.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Now let's move to the NBA for a little bit here. So in 2003, LaFlop James went number 1. Number 2, a lot of people don't remember this, Darko Milicic, right? He went to the Pistons at number 2. And he was picked over Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and D Wade. Can I just say 4 of those top 5 picks were amazing in 03? But yeah, what Pistons, what are you thinking with Darko Milicic? You didn't even stay stateside for the other guys. So give us your thoughts on that one, Billy. What are your thoughts on
It makes you wonder why they would do something like that. I mean, what did they see in Darko, especially coming from overseas, that they didn't see in Chris Bosh, D Wade, Carmelo, especially Carmelo? I mean, he was a national champion at Syracuse. Why would you not want that? It makes you wonder, like, did they just interview poorly or what? What happened behind the scenes is what makes me scratch my head. But and also, it's like, during that draft, you have LeBron, obviously Bosh and Wade that end up joining forces in Miami, being one of the best super teams that should have won more, should have dominated more. But watching that was a lot of fun. I mean, just being any fan of basketball you can't say that wasn't fun to watch. I actually just saw a clip the other day of all the lobs that D Wade threw up to LeBron. And man, it is so sick of what it is. It's just, I digress. Fucking Pistons. What do you think? What are you thinking?
Yep. All right, Luca, add to that.
Adding on to how the interview went for the Pistons with Darko. He sat there, I make basket. Hey, we're Detroit. That's all we need.
Yeah.
He says he's going to make some baskets. We could pick LeBron, Bosh, Carmelo, or D Wade. Darko seemed like our man. And then they did win 2 chips after that. But I mean, how many did they mess up on? That could have been after that.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had Bosh, or you could have had D Wade. Ouch.
Well, let's just say they took D Wade. Okay. Would D Wade have recruited LeBron and Bosh from Cleveland and Toronto respectively to Detroit instead of Miami? I mean,
they're on the same lake,
right?
Yeah, true.
Hey, it can't get that much worse.
Yeah,
right.
Miami's got something to it though. So Yeah, I don't know if they were going to go to Detroit. I just don't think so.
So I think some of D Wade's recruiting skills, like, dude, you can be in South Beach, you can be in sunny Florida, weather's great. Yeah.
Best backcourt ever. Chauncey Billups. D Wade.
Yeah.
Oof.
All right. Okay. Well, I want to move on to we got two more here. I want to sneak in before we're done. In 2007, Greg Oden was taken number 1 by the Portland Trailblazers. Again, flopping that number 1 pick. But he was taken over Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, who's going on, he's already a top 5 scorer in NBA history, I believe, and going on to be one of the best players, one of the best trollers too that we've ever seen. So, Greg Oden over Kevin Durant. Well, quick, let you guys discuss that one.
You want to dive in? Should I dive in?
Yeah, mine's short and sweet. Mine is yeah, what a bummer. And Greg Oden, that's just a sad story because again, another career ended riddled with injuries that ended him. And there's a sad video of that out there too of some granny going up to going like, "You're so tall. Do you play basketball?" And then he's just like, "I did." It's just so sad. Like, I think that's more of not a miss. That's more of a what if for me. Like, what if again it was the injury thing? Like, what if it wasn't injuries? But yeah,
what if his birth certificate was correct? Because I think the dude was like 35 coming out of high school.
That's probably why he had a career and an injury. Because I was gonna say he's at least 60 when he came on.
Yeah, at least. My God, you looked at the guy and you heard him. Like, how long were you in 7th grade, son? Like,
right?
Shit. So,
Dude's the only guy that we know suffering from osteoporosis
right?
at such a young old age.
Old age.
Exactly.
Man, this is the greatest miss of all time. I'm so glad that we got to see Durant in a Sonics uniform and he didn't have to go to like the Blazers in this case. And it was absolutely amazing. Just like all the trolling that Kevin Durant has done since then about Greg Oden and about not being picked number 1 overall. I think it's almost worth Greg Oden losing his career for all the entertainment we got off the court, not only on the court.
Well, we're reaping the benefits today with his beef with Ant. So
yeah, that'll never end. They're Eskimo brothers.
Yeah. All right, last one, and then we'll shut up for the day. And back in 2013, the Cleveland Cavaliers had yet another first-round pick. Right after they picked Kyrie Irving, they picked Anthony Bennett at number 1. Nobody knew who Anthony Bennett was, but a little while later, they could have had Giannis Antetokounmpo, who the Bucks took. So the Cleveland Cavaliers shocking the world, getting another number 1 pick, going with Anthony Bennett, not taking Giannis. Big miss. What do you guys think?
Giannis is only number 1 now in all the consensus.
Right.
You go back to the redraft at the end of 2013, and Giannis wasn't even top 10, but they were like, Ben is just definitely not number 1. He was that bad. That was the biggest miss, and I can't believe the Cavaliers got away with it. They were able to trade him and Wiggins over to, what was it, Minnesota? For what?
I don't know. I forget.
Yeah, I think for the first, I don't know what it was, but to help out LeBron, to keep LeBron happy. And no, actually that was the second time. That was to get Kevin Love. So that was the second time coming back when they traded those picks. So I mean, Cleveland didn't really miss. I think they won that one. It just really, really sucks for the Timberwolves because they had to end up with that stuff afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I will say real quick that they did miss on Rudy Gobert. He was picked later in that draft. Tim Hardaway Jr., Mason Plumlee, Dennis Schroeder, Shabazz Muhammad, Steven Adams, Kellen Olynyk, Michael Carter Williams was in that draft. Contavious Caldwell Pope, Nerlens Noel, Cody Zeller, Victor Oladipo was number 2, right? So there's a lot of names. Oladipo,
yeah,
thank you.
He was a Buck this year. Can you believe that?
He was a
He was on the
herd.
herd.
Wisconsin herd. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was.
true.
Yeah.
Was. Ouch.
Billy, you want to finish this one up for us?
I don't even know who this Bennett guy is, so say less, man. I don't know.
Well, so okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. And you know what? We do want to know what y'all are thinking for some other big misses that have happened. But this is our ultimate what ifs, our big misses. Let us know what you guys think. This was a ton of fun because we could have gone down so many rabbit holes here. Just so many what ifs, how things would have changed and how the landscape of everything would have looked different. But for now, that's all we got for you guys. So kind of want to say peace out. Have a good one,
Bye.
guys.
My flow. Ha. My flow. My flow. My flow. Microphone check. 1, 2, 3. Tuning into what's hot like a cup of tea. The BRP is live. It's time to feast with BLT icons bringing you the heat. Static on the dial and a crackle in the air. Feeling like a rebel in the day's wear and tear. The BLT icons pouring out their noise. Tuning into the burp with the glitch and poise. Let's go! Everybody wanna tell me what to listen to. I grab the mic and this is what I'm gonna do. Tune into the BRP by the Bulls Rolling Productions. Build a look at T-West is how I get my chill on.
This has been a presentation from the Ball.
Rolling Productions.
SoundSphere Radio, where every note connects.